try to get to 3-4 in a 7-game homestand. 3-4 in a 7-game homestand. And Draymond Green is now ripping himself back up. And Shasky asked a question saying, what is success for the Warriors this season? I don't have the answer to that question. I don't. I can't. I don't know what success is. I don't know what the roster is going to look like in 3 weeks, but maybe that is success. Maybe flipping the roster is success. Maybe getting to the first round of the playoffs is success. Maybe getting to the play-in tournament is success. Maybe moving off of some of the money is success. What is success to you since you asked the question? Yeah. What is your answer?
My answer is optimal flexibility heading into the offseason. And so that could be getting rid of Andrew Wiggins right now to get something back that maybe doesn't help you that much right now, but gives you maximum flexibility to either, flip that piece in the offseason or to be able to have that piece leave you and give you cap room. Because when was the last time the Warriors had a quote-unquote max slot open in the in the offseason?
Kevin Durant.
Right? So now there just might not be a player available. That has happened to the Knicks over and over and over and over again. I believe that you're viewed much higher than the Knicks have ever been viewed over the last 20 years as a playoff destination. I would want to be open as Paul George. We don't know what's going to happen there. We don't know what's going to happen with Kawhi. We don't know what's going to happen with Pascal Siakam. There are a lot of guys out there, and there's different degrees of difference maker that we're talking about. There are a lot of guys out there. Hey, what happens with Milwaukee and Dame? Well, let's say Dame and Giannis don't work out. Could Giannis be on the move? Could Embiid be on the move? Yeah. I would want to have the most optimal flexibility heading into next offseason. And so if that requires me moving Andrew Wiggins to get something back for now or keeping CP3 for now so that I have that flexibility moving forward, all I want to be is a desirable location with optionality heading into the offseason. That doesn't concede this year. I still think you can try to get into the playoffs, and then, hey, once you get into the playoffs, it's a roll of the dice. But I would do whatever I need to do to give myself optionality heading into this offseason.
Yeah, I'm with you. That's not bad.
And getting under,
not bad.
Getting
under the tax aprons as well, because you're not going to want to pay the tax.
Well, it's not just that you lose the ability to couple the first round draft picks needed to get one of these big whales. So sorry that I didn't add that in there.
And we could explain the tax bracket in just a second. I have it on my timeline. It's my pinned tweet because I feel like we're going to be referencing this tax apron and tax bracket over the next month or 2 or 3. For a long, long time here. By the way, the Bears just fired offensive coordinator Luke Getsy and other members of the offensive staff. So they are gone from Chicago. Don't know what that means for Eberflus. I don't know what that means for Justin Fields. But just to update everybody on the NFL, the Bears just fired offensive coordinator Luke Getsy. Luke Getsy, who was the offensive coordinator for the Bears.
It is what it is. I look at where the Warriors are at right now, and I don't think this year can be a lost year. Even if, let's say, they make a trade that doesn't necessarily make them better for right now, I still want to develop Kuminga. I still want to, see where Klay Thompson's at. I still want to see where Draymond Green's at because I want to know if those guys are going to be a part of next year's, run for a championship. Where's Podziemski at?
We'll find out in 3 weeks whether or not Kuminga's on his roster. He may be traded. Wiggins may be traded.
You entirely might be correct.
Maybe Moody's traded.
Maybe Looney.
Maybe he's on the way out. Looney. Everything's on the table. Everything is on the table. Let's take some calls.
Yeah, let's hear from the audience.
Krista Livermore, what's happening?
Chris.
You're on the roast.
What's going on, fellas? How are you? Happy Hump Day.
Yeah,
Happy Hump Day.
Happy Hump Day.
Hey, Shasky, I feel you on the positivity. We definitely need it right now. I agree with your how you want to end the season and whatnot. I kind of want to just take us back to not too long ago, 11/30/23, where we celebrated Clay, Dre, and Steph Day. And I kind of want to just end the season on a note that, makes us as Warrior fans proud of that day. And gives us a reason to believe that we can have a statue out front of Chase of those 3 players. Because right now, everybody's talking trade, all these trades, but I'd like to see a statue of those 3 outside the arena someday. So
that still may happen. Doesn't mean you can't be open to trading anybody. Klay Thompson would be very intriguing because he's coming off he has an expiring contract, and he's shooting the ball very, very well over the last 4 weeks of the season. But what do you do? Because they're going to get statues. They're going to get their jerseys retired and all that stuff. Now, Steph Curry definitely deserves a statue. We'll see about the other 2, but I think they'll all get some love.
I think
they'll
get
some love.
them.
That's going to happen. That doesn't mean what do you do with the roster right now? Because Draymond Green spoke yesterday. You know, Steve Kerr spoke yesterday about Draymond Green. I think everything's on the table. So is that success? Moving off the big three, breaking up the big three. Is it moving off of Kuminga? Is it starting Kuminga, giving him 35 minutes a game? Is he a player you could build around? I have no idea. I don't think we've seen enough from Kuminga, Moody, Podziemski, or TJD to say, hey, definitively, we could build around these guys. We can do that. I don't know. But in terms of positivity, it is what it is. Like, you want positive? You want positives? I mean,
I'll
win
give you
some
positives.
games. Win some games.
No, but I'll give you some small positives.
You know, because, a couple months ago, a couple weeks ago, I know we're trying to be now positive, and they're under 500. All right? This is a team that has championship aspirations. You have an owner who has championship aspirations. You think he cares about being positive right now? You think he?
No.
He is ticked off right now being under 500.
I agree with that, but wallowing in the misery isn't trying to find solutions. And so I'm trying to find a solution to get out of this predicaments that they're in.
Well, you can find solutions and still be miserable.
That's true.
You know, you can find solutions and still, damn, this makes me miserable.
Well,
some of the solutions do make me mad.
Well, I would look at it this way, where, like, Chris Paul, it feels like either he's off the team via trade, or you're going to be able to flip that deal if he opts in the offseason. It feels like you can, right? Mm-hmm. And so to me, that's an asset. How big of an asset? I don't know, but that's an asset. I don't know about Wiggins right now. I don't know if teams are seeing him as an anchor or an asset. I really don't know. But I know this. They're paying him a lot of money, and it's prohibiting them from playing a younger player at the similar position. And I feel like right now that energy that he's absorbing feels like there's a little cloud over it, fair or not. And so I think moving him for the sake of moving him is a start. And hopefully when you move that guy, one of two things happens. You get something back that can help you, or you can get something back that gives you flexibility heading into this offseason.
Well, just freeing up the money, because I'm looking at, Andrew Wiggins and his player option at the end of the deal. Does Scottie Pippen have a statue in Chicago? Somebody just asked 707. That's a great question.
I don't think so, but I don't know. I don't know Chicago well enough.
Scottie Pippen does have a statue, dude. Maybe we need to.
Well, but that's on also the Chicago Bulls and how they determine, giving out statues. Like Orlando Cepeda. Orlando Cepeda has a statue, and I think he was with the Giants 7 years.
Right.
And he was a great Giant, but his best years were with another team.
They have a statue of him. They unveiled it in 2011.
Okay, gotcha.
So there you go.
That was a good question. I didn't know. I don't know. I would have been like, that's wrong to not have a statue of Scottie Pippen. That's ruthless. Let's go to 18 Seattle. AT, what's happening? You're on the road.
Hey,
I just wanted to say that I remember back when during the KD days, they'd have just us. That was their motto. I feel like that's what they got to get back to. I haven't seen this team leak so much. I haven't seen this team be on the press so much because the internal turmoil. And success for me is getting back to just us and knowing how to gracefully transition to the next era. If you can't do that, like Pop did it, if you can't do that, like the Celtics have done it to a contender, even though I don't rate them, you got to make that transition. And I feel like to make that transition, you have to block out the noise and get back to being just us.
Well, they've always had a lot of media around them since they started winning championships. You ever go to media day during the Kevin Durant years, or even after the first championship game, and there's nothing but cameras and lighting and it's filling up the gym. And they've been the talk of the NBA for damn near a decade. They've been the lead story. They've had national TV games galore. Probably the most national television games in the last decade, the Golden State Warriors. So they have been in that spotlight for many, many years. But now the spotlight is different. The spotlight is different because of what's happened inside this locker room. And really, it started last year in training camp. I keep going back to that because Shasky, at media day last season, right before they went to Japan, the vibes were immaculate. So many people were so excited about the Warriors. Jordan Poole's in a great mood. Wiggins, they're all chirping. They're all talking. I mean, it was a great time. It was, and I was thinking to myself, are they really going to go back-to-back? Man. You got the young guys now they're on board. They're entering their second year. They're going to be a lot better. You get James Wiseman back. And from that day in training camp, it just hasn't been the same. It really hasn't. And I don't know if he could get it back. Like, Draymond Green is at the center of this. The reason why we're talking about this stuff is because we haven't seen Draymond Green for half the season. And we don't know what this roster is. It hasn't been maximized because one of your lead cogs has been out for more than half the year due to what he called antics, and I agree with that. So is success moving off of Draymond Green? Can you keep Draymond Green around? Can they figure it out? And will players want to come due to Draymond Green? Like, that's a real thing. And I look, what I heard from Draymond Green yesterday and what I heard from his podcast, and we could disagree on some of the things he said. I didn't think maybe, 40 minutes yesterday was a little long, but he was sincere. He was sincere. And I give him that. And I do think he's taking a step in the right direction. Now, we still have to see the actions. We still have to see how it plays out on the floor when he does come back. And then we have to see what the rotations look like because we have no idea. We have no idea if Kuminga's going to start next to him. We have no idea if Draymond Green is going to be able to help Andrew Wiggins and Jonathan Kuminga because Draymond Green was here, and it wasn't helping Andrew Wiggins at all. Andrew Wiggins has just been lost all season long, with or without Draymond Green. But will players, if you do move off some of these guys, Shasky, do they still look at this destination as desirable after what's happened with this organization over the last 2 years? Do they still look at the Warriors saying, you know what, I could go there and ring chase. I go there and play next to Steph and Trey and Clay. We don't even know if Clay's going to be here. You get what I'm saying?
No, I do. Couldn't you have made the similar arguments about the Lakers the last couple of years?
You can, but a lot of those guys are drafted, right? And so when they picked up D'Lo, they traded for D'Lo. Nobody wanted D'Lo from Minnesota. They made it work.
Yeah.
Picking up Austin Reeves when they did, and then picking up some of the cheaper guys on the back end. I get it, but a lot of things happen via trade for them.
No doubt. I look at it like, as long as LeBron's there, I feel like you're a destination. As long as Steph Curry's here, you're a destination to a degree. Maybe I'm biased. Maybe people view this as a toxic situation. Maybe people are saying, yeah, but not that guy. Like, I don't know if you saw the Tyrese Maxey did a podcast and he was talking about Draymond Green screaming and yelling at him.
Yeah.
Even though he's not a big talker. Are people saying, I'll go there, just not play with him? I don't know that. We don't know.
I don't know. We don't.
I mean, I forever I've heard about how Kyrie and Harden aren't the greatest to play with, and yet I see a lot of people lining up to play with them, and they think it's going to be different.
Are they?
I mean,
Harden's been traded.
I know, a
Harden's
zillion
been
times.
traded. It's not like they're lining up to play with him.
Well, it
He's
just
been
seems like
traded to those destinations. And then by the end of his tenure, Philadelphia looks so much better without him. Now, the Clippers are playing some good basketball, and I'm very impressed with the LA Clippers. But I don't know if people were lining up to play.
Well, I don't know about lining up. All
Harden.
it takes is one, right? I don't know. Maybe I'm too close to the situation and I'm being biased, but I feel like the Warriors have a really good track record. There are some things that every organization has that they wish that they could redo, but there are a lot of people that I think that could help them. And what's really stuck in my head over the last few years, because they've been so bloated with the top end contracts, rightfully, when you win what they win and when you create legends, they have had very limited ways to be able to fill out the rest of the roster. You've lost the mid-level exception. You've lost, different ways of adding outside of the minimum veteran salary. And so if you can get back to that and have other ways to be able to fill out that roster, to me, I think it does become a more desirable situation, not just for the top end, prime guys like let's say Embiid or Paul George or whatever, but also some of those mid-level guys that you just haven't been able to spend money with.
Well, that may be true, but this culture has taken a hit.
Undenied. I can't argue that.
And so when people look at this destination, again, NBA players, they're looking at the Bay Area and they're hearing, I don't think the Warriors have a problem with this. The Giants are making excuses about the city or whatnot. The Warriors don't have that problem. The Niners don't have that problem. But I do wonder, with the current situation, there's questions about the head coach. Because next season, we don't even know who the coach is going to be. Steve Kerr just signed an extension, and the longer this lingers, we learned our lesson last year with Bob Myers. We don't know if Klay Thompson's going to be around. We don't know how players view Draymond Green and some of the things he's done on the court to other players. There's a long track record there. Steph's getting older. He's not 32 no more. He's not 31 no more. He's 35. And I still think he's playing at a high level, but he's going to be 36 next season. It's the reality. Father Time's undefeated. There's been a little slippage here. You just look at the last 7 games for Stephen Curry. The last 7 games for Stephen Curry has not been good. I'm going to cite these numbers here for you. And Steph Curry over the last 7, Shasky, shooting in the 30s. And so I think that's a byproduct of guys being in and out of the lineup. There's no doubt about that. But look, 22 points per game over the last 7, 37% from the floor, 31% from 3. Is that just, a little bit of a mini slump? Or is that reality that Steph Curry does have a little slippage?
Well, no, I think where he's at is he's at where LeBron was before they acquired Anthony Davis. You're still great, but you just can't do it all. You just can't at this age. And you can't expect to age properly unless you have an in their prime star who you could take turns throughout a regular season and a postseason saying your turn, my turn, right? At carrying the team for long stretches.
And Steve Kerr touched on that.
I really believe that he is at the exact same point where LeBron was prior to Anthony Davis going to the Lakers.